Toss-up number 1. Literature. In one story, this god created mankind by bringing bones up from Mictlan and sprinkling his blood on them. In that, he was assisted by his dog-headed twin, Xolatl. This benevolent god, who was identified with Venus, sailed away on a raft of serpents. For 10 points, name this Aztec god shown as a feathered serpent. Toss-up number 2. Science. These constructs can be calculated using the Hartree, Fake, or SCF methods, or approximated by the LCAO method. They explain why liquid oxygen is paramagnetic and why dihelium cannot exist. Based on their energy levels, they are classified as bonding, non-bonding, or anti-bonding. For 10 points, name these constructs that predict the location of electrons in a compound orbitals described by MO theory. Toss-up number 3. Fine arts. Scipione Borghese commissioned a statue of this man that shows his armor at his feet as he steps with his right foot and reaches his left arm across his torso. In a bronze nude of him, his left hand is on his hip as he plants a sword in the ground. In a marble nude, he looks to the left with a sling draped over his shoulder. Bernini, Donatello, and Michelangelo sculpted for 10 points what killer of Goliath? Toss-up number 4. Fine arts. This artist included a throne with 4 small statues of lions in his Lucca Madonna, and he depicted the Virgin again in Madonna of Chancellor Rollin. The Adoration of the Lamb is featured in a polyptych he completed with his brother Hubert. In another work, he depicted a woman in a green dress holding hands with her husband. For 10 points, name this Dutch artist of the Ghent altarpiece and the Arnolfini wedding. Toss-up number 5. Mathematics. Paper and pencil ready. 4 boys and 4 girls are trying out for a play whose 3 roles are a man, a woman, and a dog. A boy must play the man, and a girl must play the woman, but the dog has no such restrictions. The number of different cast permutations can be found by determining how many children are available for each part. For 10 points, how many different permutations are possible? Toss-up number 6. Social studies. Before this king took the throne, George Monk occupied London. At the start of his reign, he signed the Declaration of Breda, and his reign saw the passage of the Clarendon Code. During his reign, this king was targeted by the Rye House plot, which sought to put his illegitimate son, the Duke of Monmouth, on the throne. For 10 points, name the Stuart king who was restored to the throne in 1660. Toss-up 7. Science. Some viruses perform this process via the rolling circle method. Topoisomerase prevents excess tension during it. The Mendelssohn-Stahl experiment demonstrated its semi-conservative nature. In it, Okazaki fragments are joined to form the lagging strand. Helicase unwinds and polymerase synthesizes the new strand for the double helix in, for 10 points, what process that, in humans, duplicates chromosomes? Toss-up number 8. Literature. This author wrote about Buzz Windrip, a dictatorial American president, in It Can't Happen Here. His other characters include a doctor's wife who tries to bring culture to the town of Gopher Prairie, Minnesota, and a real estate salesman who briefly romances the flapper Tanis Judique and acts as a booster for the town of Zenith. For 10 points, name this Nobel Prize winning author of Main Street and Babbitt. Toss-up 9. Math. Pencil and paper ready. Cindy wants to carry the heaviest possible cargo load across an ice field that can support 150 pounds per square foot. Cindy and her snowmobile together weigh 1,300 pounds, and the snowmobile has a surface area of 9 square feet. If Cindy wants the snowmobile and the cargo to reach the maximum exactly, then, for 10 points, how much of a load in pounds will Cindy place on the snowmobile? Toss-up number 10. Science. James Hannay claimed to have created this mineral by mixing lithium, paraffin, and bone oil at high heat. Bort and Balas are low-grade types of this mineral to which nitrogen impurities may give a yellow color. Pipes of kimberlite are a source of this mineral, which very slowly converts under standard conditions into graphite. For 10 points, name this allotrope of carbon rated 10 on the Mohs hardness scale. Toss-up number 11. Social studies. 19 models were specified by name in the 1941 law defining this phrase. Other varieties must match two from a list of features such as telescoping stock, flash suppressor, or grenade launcher. Until 2004, the U.S. barred the manufacture of this type of weapon for civilian use, but neither the law nor Connecticut's state ban applied to the Bushmaster AR-15. For 10 points, name this category of semi-automatic gun. Toss up number 12, literature. This poet wrote about a woman who weaves a mirror's magic sights into a colorful web and sees Sir Lancelot singing Tira Lira. This poet also wrote the lines, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." For 10 points, name this poet of The Lady of Shalott, who eulogized Arthur Henry Hallam in his In Memoriam and wrote about part of the Battle of Balaclava in The Charge of the Light Brigade. Toss-up number 13, math. Nikolai Lobachevsky developed a type of geometry named for these figures in which a triangle's angles add to less than 180 degrees. They describe the orbits of unbound objects. A plane intersects both halves of a double cone to form these non-degenerate conics with eccentricities over 1. The set of points, a constant difference away from two foci, gives, for 10 points, what figure exemplified by y equals 1 over x? Toss-up number 15, social studies. Opposing forces during this conflict included the Muslim Kansu Braves and the troops of the Seymour and Gassili expeditions. The Eight-Nation Alliance ended the siege of the Legation Quarter and defeated the rebels who were supported by the government under Empress Dowager Cixi. For 10 points, name this anti-foreign Chinese rebellion that began in 1900 and was led by the Religious and Harmonious Fists. Toss-up 16, social studies. This general won the battles of Port Republic and Cedar Mountain. His attack on Bolivar Heights helped capture Harper's Ferry before Antietam. His soldiers collapsed the Union right at Chancellorsville the night before he was fatally shot in a friendly fire incident. At First Bull Run, Barnard B. praised the stubbornness of this general's Virginia brigade. For 10 points, identify this Confederate nicknamed Stonewall. Toss-up 17, science. Klaus Johnson used this particle in his double-slit experiment. A muon decays into a neutrino, an antineutrino, and this particle. The inelastic collision between this particle and a photon is called Compton scattering. Its charge of negative 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th coulombs was measured in Millikan's oil drop experiment. For 10 points, name this subatomic negatively charged particle that is shared in covalent bonds. Toss-up 18, social studies. This philosopher wrote about whether interpreting poetry is a skill or a matter of divine inspiration in a work known as the Ion. He wrote about the nature of language in Cratylus, while the theory that knowledge is actually recollection appears in his Meno. He discussed the allegory of the cave in The Republic. For 10 points, name this Greek philosopher, the mentor of Aristotle and a pupil of Socrates. Toss up 19. Literature. One character in this novel reads the protagonist's locked journal and is shortly thereafter hit by a car. Its title character attends school in Beardsley and acts in the play The Enchanted Hunters, which was written by Claire Quilty. The protagonist of this novel has an obsession with youthful nymphets, including Dolores Hayes. Humbert narrates for 10 points what novel by Vladimir Nabokov? Toss up number 20. Science. A system undergoing the quantum analog of this phenomenon has energy eigenstates that can be found using the ladder operator method. In some non-ideal variants of this phenomenon, the Q factor expresses how much energy is lost per cycle or the degree of underdamping. The ideal form of this phenomenon obeys Hooke's law. For 10 points, name this type of periodic oscillation exemplified by a mass on a spring. Toss up 21. Literature. This activity is the source of the English phrases lead with one's chin, square up, and take a dive. It's also responsible for the descriptor pound for pound and the precarious state of being on the ropes. The expressions saved by the bell and throw in the towel also originated with this sport. For 10 points, name this sport, also called pugilism, that gave rise to being down for the count and sucker punch. Toss up 22. Fine arts. A sustained bassoon note connects the first and second movements of this composer's violin concerto, in which the soloist enters almost immediately with a theme in E minor. A visit to Scotland inspired this composer's Symphony No. 3 in A minor and his Hebrides overture. For 10 points, name this German composer who included a wedding march in his incidental music to A Midsummer Night's Dream. Toss up 23. Miscellaneous. In October 2013, this company announced that its subsidiary Affiliated Computer Services was under investigation by the SEC. The Alto was a personal computer developed at this company's Palo Alto Research Center, or PARC, division, which also developed Ethernet and laser printers. The Haloid Photographic Company was the original name of, for 10 points, what corporation whose modern name has become a synonym for photocopy? Toss up 24. Mathematics. Pencil and paper ready. Trisha is buying both hot dogs and buns and wants to spend the minimum positive amount possible while ensuring that she has equal amounts of both. Hot dogs cost $3 for a package of 10, while a package of 8 buns costs $2. By first computing the minimum number of hot dogs and buns she must buy, Trisha computes, for 10 points, what total minimum cost?